So we're back on again. How you doing, everybody? Hope everybody's keeping well and enjoying their Sunday, bank holiday Sunday. Just finishing off the setup here now. So we got cut off last night, coming into the last fly, and I said that I'd come back on and do that last fly. And sure, while we're here, we might as well do one or two others as well. I got a couple of nice tries that came up in conversations today following last night, and we'll, we'll cover a few little bits. So what I want to start with is the Alan Hollis. How you doing? Robbie's back on there again. Hi, Robbie. Hope you're all keeping well and had a good day. Apologies for last night, folks. That was hi, Yano. It was very frustrating. But what actually happened was went on to and checked out Imagine, and it was actually Imagine went down across most of the country at that particular time. Just my luck. Hi, Dave Egan. How you keeping? Neil, how you doing? Michael McLean is back on there. Liam Long, how you doing? Great to see you all back again tonight for another bit of flight time. 2 nights in a row, sure, why not? Bank holiday weekend. What else would you do? It's not like you'd be going to the pub for a pint or anything, would you? So sitting here, going to tie a few flies. We're going to do that Mayfly Wolf that we were just about to start last week, and as I got 2 other cracking little river dries that came up in conversation today, based on some of the stuff we did last night, and we're going to run them off for you as well. Pass an hour or two here. Stay tuned in. If you got any questions, by all means, shoot them across. Say hello. Say hello and have a bit of fun. So, right, we're going to get stuck into this Mayfly. So this is one that I used. I didn't use myself actually, but I was asked to tie something in particular for a guy earlier on in the season, and following tied him a dozen of them. He fished them, got a lot of trout on him, and turned out then I had to tie probably a couple of hundred of them throughout the season. Worked really well, and nice pattern. But Donald Gretton was on last week, and Donald was asking about the reason why I'm actually really tying this fly is that Donald Gretton was on talking, asking me about wolf wings, tying in calf tail for wolf wings and stuff like that, and the best way of doing it. So this is the fly that came to mind that I would use it because we used the wolf wings in this one. So in the vice there, I've got a size 8 B175 Camazan. How you doing, James Gibson? Hi, Neil. Hope you're keeping well. If you want to tie this on barbless, a size 12 WSL Dohaku is very similar in size. The shank is just a small little bit shorter on the barbless, but still very similar in size to the 8B175 V1 time barbless. But this particular fly that I tied for that person was on barbed hooks. Hi, Brian Canty, glad you enjoyed last night and that little dry fly. That was a lovely little dry fly last night actually, and believe it or not, I spent most of the day tying them for people. Loads of people came on to me after last night, and really appreciate the business guys. Came on after last night and messaged me and said, any chance you wouldn't do me 20 of those, or in size 14, 16s, 18s, 20s. So I spent most of the day tying those. Enjoy tying them. A nice little fly. So basically what I'm going to do here first is just start off with my thread. I'm going to attach in my Kevlar. So there's a couple of nice techniques to this fly as we go through the whole press. There's a bit of tying in it, but just snip away that waste there. And going to take out some calf here. So we're going to use our Dublin stacker for this here as well, or a hair stacker should I say. So I'm going to take a pinch of calf tail. This is natural white calf tail. Very good for doing wolf wings and stuff like that. Nice easy material to work with. Okay. Clean away the down off the bottom, all that kind of loose fur and stuff. Helps the stack much better. I'm actually just going to add another small little piece of that. It was a nice early morning this morning. Completely forgot about the hour going back. Young Tommy decided to wake up at what he thought was 6:15, but it turned out to be 5:15. So a nice early start this morning and a good day in the ice. So once I've got my pinch of calf hair, as you can see, goes into the deer hair stacker. Natural tips down. Get them all in there. A few taps on the table. Get those points all lined up. Now, when you're stripping it out of when you're taking it out of the hair stacker, okay, depending on what way, if I was doing a sage wing, I would take it out that way, out of so it lies back on the hook. But if I'm doing wolf wings and I want to tie them in, we always take them out towards the eye of the hook, okay? Saves changing hands. That was a tip I learned from watching Davey McPhail's videos. Saves changing hands too much and turning it around, that you can just place in there. So the height of the wings, or the length of the wings, the height of the wings or the length of the wings should be the length of the shank of the body. The shank of the hook, should I say. Okay, put it up there, offer it up to the hook. So, and I'm going to attach these in about 3 or 4 mil back from the eye of the hook. Just take it, catch them in, pinch it, pull them down, get them all on top. If 1 or 2 spin around a little bit, we're not overly worried about it. I'll get them back up before I finish. Keep them back from the eye a little bit. Common mistake would be that you would tie too close to the eye, and then when you actually go to complete the fly up near the head, it's you've left yourself no room. So don't be afraid to keep it back. We're going to put a lot of hackle in there afterwards. So once I got a couple of nice solid turns on it, well secured in, we're then going to trim back our waist and trim it back at an angle so we get a nice taper going back on that body. Okay, still holding on to that calf tail a little bit on my finger as I wind down along and secure everything in really well. We get a nice taper. Just going to adjust the focus on that. Going to adjust the focus there for a second, guys, on the camera. Just bear with me 1 second there now. Just to make it a little bit better for you. It just seems to be a bit off a little bit. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Hope everybody can see me, hear me okay tonight. So back to the time. So once I've tapered that back up, I bring the thread back up to where my calf tail is. Lift it up. There are a couple of turns just above that. And about there. And I'm going to tie a wedge in at the butt of that fly, or that calf tail, basically to kick it up. And you can see it's starting to kick up. Tie a good wedge of thread in there. Once I got that standing up, I'm then going to split it in half. Trying to get 2 equal sides. And I'm just going to loop that thread through, figure of 8 basically, to separate those 2 wings. So once we've got them separated, as you can see there now, nice separation on them. Quite happy with that. Back down along, and we're going to start building the rest of the fly. So I'm going to use some natural pheasant tail, 3 strands of natural pheasant tail, 3 fibres for the tail, and we want a natural curvature facing up the way. So you have a natural curvature on that feather, and we want that coming up off the body. The length of the tail should be similar to the length of the wing, the full length of the shank and hook, or a little bit longer. Tied it off. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is for our body. Now the body for this one, we're going to use some magic strips from Simplify, which is the quill strips you see there, and we're going to take one of those off and we're going to tie it in. So this is adhesive quill, okay, and we're going to tie it in there. With the adhesive side facing you, take away a little bit of waste. Then for an underbody, we're actually going to use some plumber's tape. Okay, this is your normal, everyday hardware plumber's tape. And we're going to put a layer of that up the body. And I'm going to explain why I do this now in a minute. That's when I'm using white thread, or why don't we just use white thread? Some people might ask. And you can use that as your underbody. I'm going to colour this in with marker before I wind up that perfect quill. If I use thread, or if I leave on the white Kevlar silk, the coloured markers don't take the Kevlar quite effectively, and if we use thread, it's too absorbent and the colours tend to run an awful lot. You don't get a specific, if you want a light tone on top and a darker tone on bottom, or split in half, or do a triple kind of tiered body, well then doing it on thread, it can run a little bit on you, so it can be just a bit messy. Where if you actually use plumber's tape underneath it and colour the plumber's tape, the colour won't run at all. So I'm just going to put a layer of hi Dave. No, I didn't. I never used calf body hair instead of the tail. Must give that a go actually. Yeah, must get some of that now and give that a go. Actually try. Hi Dennis Golden, hope you're keeping well. Glad you can hear me okay. So just putting a layer of that up the body, as you can see, and it gives you a lovely flat smooth finish to that underbody as well. It's great stuff. I use plumber's tape for an awful lot of stuff. If I'm doing stalking bugs and stuff like that, for stocky fishing, I might do one for you. I think I might have done a video last year or something, but I might cover it some like stalking bug, and using plumber's tape under the likes of Globerite and stuff like that, and then UV resin over the top of it. It gives a fantastic effect. Use a lot of it. There's another mayfly pattern that I will do for you along the way at some stage. It's a spent May, and I use plumber's tape as the body as well, and just rib it. And it's really good. So now I'm going to take some permanent markers and I'm going to start adding a little bit of colour and tone to that body. So I've got a nice yellow. It's going to be up around the top half of the fly, and you can see, I hope you can make out, the colour's not running. It's going exactly where the pen is. It's exactly where I want it. It's not running. I get a nice clean colour on it. Hi Martin Driver, hope you're keeping well. Now then, just down at the butt section, you can do, now of course you can do whatever colours you want to really. I'm actually going to just drop that yellow down just a little bit more because I want to marry it into a brown. You can do whatever colours. I actually have a great Javi nymph that I'm going to do over the next couple of weeks for you, and it's a very similar process to this. But you can do whatever kind of colour combinations you want. I'm putting a bit of brown there at the butt end of it. Just a touch of brown, just to have a nice dark butt going up into the yellow body. And there we have our underbody completed. Then we take our quill strip, and say when you tie it in, tie the sticky side out facing towards you, so when you start winding up that body, it will be the opposite way and the sticky side will be inside. So I'm going to wind it up the body of the mayfly. And of course those colours subtly come through that body and you get a lovely undercolour. Really nice taper in that colour from the brown up into the yellow. And we can do, I do a Mayfly nymph very similar to this as well, using similar materials. Same kind of system. It's you know, it's something to muck around with, have a bit of fun with. Definitely leaves a lovely finish on it. So once I've got that attached and up there, it's well secured in, clean up the waste, and another couple of turns to secure it in. Before we move on, we're going to resin that, put a bit of UV resin on that fly. I use the Solderez Blue Thin and Hard. It's my go-to resin. Really like it. The other one that I would use an awful lot is the Bone Dry by Solderez. I find the Solderez stuff fantastic. Sets like glass, and never have a problem with it. I just dispense a little bit into a tub, because normally when I'm doing resin, I could be tying an awful lot of Perdigon, so I have a little kind of tub there. Dispense a little bit into it, and then use a fine artist brush to thanks Conor McRae thinks it's a savage looking fly already. It is. It's not too bad now at all. We'll get to the finish there now, and it'll look even better hopefully. So yeah, Sean Maher says the plumbing tape, it is a good idea. Yeah, geez, I can't even remember where I got that tip from someone. We all learn from someone somewhere along the way. But yeah, using a plumber's tape underbody, even to say when you're doing bugs and stuff like that, you're going to see over the next couple of months of Saturday nights, I'm going to be doing different stuff, and plumber's tape will be making a show every now and again. So I'm just putting a nice thin layer onto that. Don't want to overbulk that body, just a nice thin layer the whole way around, making sure it's got a nice coating on it. And once I'm happy with it, then take a pin and give it a zap. And you can see that lovely kind of colour coming through the pen. Once it's on that plumber's tape, there is a serious bang off the colour. And when I do the Globe Right, next couple of weeks I'll do the Globe Right Stalking Bug for stocky fishing, and my God, the colour just absolutely jumps out once it goes over that plumber's tape, because it's just so clean and white. So once we've got that body done already, now we're going to add in our hackles. Okay, so I'm going to put in 2 hackles into this fly. I've got a dyed yellow fluorescent grizzle, and I've got a natural grizzle, but I'm going to put in two hackles onto that one. Okay, so normally I tie in the yellow first. I don't know if there's really much difference, but just kind of a system I've been used to. I'm going to tie in my yellow grizzle first. And then I'm going to tie in my natural grizzle on top of that. Now for these kind of very large wolves, I do want a biggish enough hackle on them for proportions, and they are meant to ride some rough water during those early summer waves. So once I've got that done, I'm going to start winding my hackle up the body, or up the rest of the way. Couple of turns there. The back side of the wings. Hold those wings back. Get a couple of turns in there at the butt. Help those wings stay in place. Nice compact hackle. If it slips out like that, it's okay. Just regather it. Nice compact hackle the whole way up to the wide hook. Couple of turns over the top. Secure it in. Take away our little bit of off hackle. Hold everything back. Couple of turns up there at the eye just to secure everything in. Because I'm using that fine Kevlar, I'm not even going to, you can, you know, if you want to create a very large head, I don't really when I'm doing dries. I like to keep, even for lock style, I like to keep them as small as possible. And no need to even colour that. Take away our thread. Now, if you're really finicky and you've got a couple of fibres, hackle barbs sticking out the back of that hackle, you can just tidy them up there with the scissors if you like. I'm pretty happy with that. So there you go, folks. That's the mayfly. Dried. I caught an awful lot of fish last year on Sheelan, Cara, Mask. Tied it for a good few guys, and they had a lot of success on it. Not an overcomplicated pattern. The body does a lot for it. Hope you can see the true value of that body. Dennis Coolan. Dennis, yeah, go on. So that quill name again, Yano, is Perfect Quills. You get it on our website. It's by Semplify. It comes in several different sizes. Yeah, we pretty much everything that I'm using over the last couple of live sessions, guys, you'll find on the website. If you don't find it on the website, by all means, give me a shout. Dennis Goolan come on there and said, don't be giving away all the secrets. Dennis used it under bumbles and stuff like that, and things like that. And colours, absolutely, I totally agree with you, Dennis. It makes that colour, whatever it is about it, it makes colour pop off it. Like, you know, if you do a hot tag or something like that and you put a bit of plumber's tape underneath, but I definitely know with the Globe Right. Maybe next week I'll show you that stalking bug, and it'll show you the real effect of putting plumber's tape under Globe Right and then UV resin over the top of it is phenomenal. And I often find that let's say if you put in a tag of Globe Right on a nymph or a lake fly or whatever it may be, your streamer, and it's just goes onto the bare hook or onto the bare trade, and even though the colour looks quite intense there, once you UV resin it, Globe Right kind of becomes a little bit translucent, and you tend to lose that real intensity of the colour. That's why you use an awful lot of Tommy Fly. Tommy Fly doesn't lose that intensity, but if you put the plumber's tape in under your Globe Rights, it'll just absolutely bang off of the hook, and really does give a nice scent. But anyway, there you go, guys. Really good mayfly. Fished very well last year, and I'm sure it's going to catch plenty more trout this year. I'll be tying a couple of them come the springtime, no doubt. So that was the one from last night, and I hope you've enjoyed that. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday night, and that try it on boobies. I must try that, Dennis. Thanks very much. Yeah, no, definitely. You must try it on boobies and see how it works. All right, yeah, but it's one of those pieces of material that definitely you can have some fun with. And like all the good stuff, it's not going to, set you back a mile. You go into plumbers, you get that for a couple of euros, and you'll have a lifetime on it. There you go. Donald, I hope that helps you with your wolf wings. Very simple. An awful lot of things on say, tying a fly like that is the cassette tape Paddy Mac I have, and I actually have an absolute fantastic, and I think I said about it in the last show when I did it back in COVID, that cassette tape. I have a ginger quill dry fly pattern that I used for donkey's years, and like other things, you move on, you use different stuff, but the body of it was cassette tape. Now, and at the time I couldn't find, Graham Lonergan's on there and says a lovely fly, and for any of you that weren't awake early enough this morning, I put up a question about last night's show, and the winner was Graham Lonergan. He was the first one to give me the correct answer, and all the flies that were tied last night and tonight, Graham, these are going to post to you on Tuesday, so you're going to have that lovely wolf Tuesday or Wednesday probably by the time you get it. But back to cassette tape. So yeah, and I couldn't find any at the time. I knew I had it somewhere in the desk, but I couldn't find it. But I did find it. So maybe again in the next week or two, I might do that ginger quill for you and show you the cassette tape. It's cracking stuff. There's loads of stuff out there that I use. Coming up to Christmas, Quality Streets wrappers. I'm thinking like a dog after a bone on those things. I've just collect as many as I can. They come in so many different colours. Fantastic stuff for doing shellback on nymphs and different things like that, and even body wraps. There's an awful lot of stuff out there. You've all seen me work with onion bags and stuff like that. I basically say once it doesn't break down in water and it holds its colour, well then it's pretty much good enough to go onto a fly for me if it does the right job. I remember myself and Robbie Phelan back in the day up in Curra Springs fishing little fry patterns, and there was a particular blue cheek we wanted on them, so we used salt and vinegar crisp bags, and that got it perfect for us. So moving on from there, I'm going to cover two more dries. So Donald asked last week not just about the wolf, and I was going to do this next week, but look, I'm going to do it tonight, just because we're all on here and we might as well keep it going while we're here. And it's G&H sedge. Okay, also known as the Goodard Sage in America. Probably one of the top sage patterns in the States. Very good here and very effective. And Donald was kind of wondering about the tying process of it and stuff like that. I know, so I've been asked commonly about deer hair. It's, you know, it's messy, it's hard to work with, and absolutely it can be. Deer hair can be a bit challenging at times, and I'm actually looking for the hooks now. I thought I had the packet of hooks for those. Bear with me 1 second there now, folks. Let's scoop them out. I have them here somewhere. They're not going to cut it. Did I leave them downstairs? Probably did. You're going to have to bear with me, folks. I'm going to have to pop away for 1 second and collect those hooks. And we're back with the packet of hooks. Oh, sorry about that. So it is live. Not set up, not staged. All live. And left me hooks below. So it's a DO4 size 14. We're going to do a G&H Sage, Goodard Sage. Anyone out there, Dave Toohey maybe, or Dennis, who was the inventor and what year? Someone was on there. I missed a comment or two. There was someone on about commenting last night. Neil Hammerton. Yeah, thanks very much, Neil. I'll be posting this. I posted last night's. Alan wants Dennis to sing a song while he's waiting. I'm back in it. But I posted last night's video on YouTube. I'll put this one up on YouTube tomorrow. It's on my Facebook page anyway. I don't take it down. So if there's anything you want to go back on, by all means. I did, Dave. Yeah, I wrote myself an IOU down the shop when I went down to get those hooks. But by all means, if anybody has any questions or anything they want to see, I can produce a longer video. But you will see this up on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. So, putting in the Kevlar thread, DO4, Marutu size 14 for this one, guys. And as we all know what the Goodard Sage looks like, it's the deer hair. It has that long tapered out deer hair, fanned out deer hair body. And you know, doing it, Cliff Henry is the man that Dennis Goulden is accredited with inventing the G&H Sage, also known as the Goodard Sage. Okay, so it can be a bit of a mess and can be a bit tedious and stuff like that. But if you remember, this is a simpler way. I find it quite an easy way of doing it. If you can remember, you know, when we did that Daddy Long Legs there last week or the week before, we were using these zonker strips, the deer hair zonker strips, okay? And I was using all the nice natural tips for the deer hair and stuff, for the stuff like that. And then I'm left with these other butt sections that are along here. Now, doing the likes of a Goodard Sage or G&H Sage, this stuff is absolutely perfect. You know, short, real neat to use, very quick, and you're going to see now. So I'm going to get my usual bull clip, and I'm basically just going to go in there. I'm going to try and show you what I'm doing there. Go in there and just catch a nice section of that in the bull clip. Don't need massive long fibres here for this. And that's what causes an awful lot of hardship, I think, as well, is that, you know, your fibres are so long. And I'm just cutting along the tan skin there. Cutting it away. So, for one, we don't have as much waste with our deer hair when we're using the kind of... and as you can see there now, deer hair's inside. And I can, if I want to move it out a little bit, I can just release a little bit of pressure off the clip. Just pluck it out a bit so it's all going to be fairly uniformed along. And it saves waste as well, you know, because if I did use that for the daddy's hog there last week, it would have all went to the ground. So just tidying up those tip. So it was John Goodard, Dennis Cliff Henry. I've heard that guy's name before, but John Goodard, Patrick Phelan, and it is Mikey. It's grand when you have a shop underneath you to go and grab a bit of gear. All right. So basically, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to split this thread. Get an even split on it. The Kevlar is nice and easy to split. And I'm going to put in my deer hair in my bolt clip in between those two strands. Sliding the two strands off of the bolt clip blades in over the deer hair, and I've got it trapped. I've got a bit of tension on that, thread there, just to keep those two strands nice and tight against the deer. But it allows me to move it up and down, spread it out a bit, push it back and forward, get it all nice and evenly spread out on the, as you can see there now, evenly spread out. I then pinch just below the deer hair and I start spinning the thread bobbin. This is going to take a couple of seconds. Hi Stephen, how are you keeping? Stephen Potts on there. Thanks Graham. Graham said he's going to drop a bag of cans early December when he gets up. You're more than welcome anytime, Graham, if you want to stay and drink them with me. Bring plenty of them. So I'm just spinning the thread bobbin here, but I'm actually pinching, as you can see, I'm pinching the thread below the deer hair, because if I was spinning that and not pinching it, well then most of that deer hair would fall out with the shaking around. And so once I've pinched it and spun it a bit, I can then start to release slowly, and it's a slow release, so it just makes everything just lock in a little bit easier, as you can see, and it doesn't all spin out and go all over the place. It's kind of a more controlled release. When I'm doing dubbing or anything like that, it's the very same. I always pinch the thread between the thread bobbin and the material, and then just release your finger slowly. You get a much more controlled spin on it, and it doesn't make a whole mess of your brush. Basically what I'm doing here is a deer hair brush. You see it's starting to come together there now. Nice deer hair brush. Give it another couple of spins. We're good to go. So now I'm going to start winding it on. And as I wind it, I'm just going to stroke back those deer hair. This allows you to get a real nice tight body on it. Same for doing muddlers and stuff like that as well, you know. Now obviously you'd have the more natural tips in there for the muddlers and stuff, but for doing something like this, it makes life just so much easier rather than trying to spin it on the hook, I find. And get plenty of it on there for a moment. Don't leave yourself short. We're going to pack all that back there now in a second. So once I'm happy enough that I've got enough on it, all I do then is I pluck out the rest of the stuff I don't want. Comes out after a couple of tugs. You won't break the Kevlar. Once I got it cleaned a bit, holding back all those long fibres, get a couple of turns in there at the head, get back to the clean thread. Once make sure it's all well secured in, just putting my finger at the back, my left hand at the back of the hook, and just getting my thumbnail and fingernail and just shoving it all back, getting it nicely packed, as you can see. These are dry fly hooks, so I'd always take that pressure off the back of the hook with that. If I was to shove it there, there'd be a chance I could snap that hook or whatever. So give it a little bit of a brush back just to get it all nicely in place. I actually forgot a very key component. Anyone can tell me what I forgot to do? I'm going to explain this. I'm not going back. I'll explain this. Anyone tell me what I forgot to do there in order to tie the Goodard, the tying of the original Goodard session? Yeah, it is, Alan. That's just our Kevlar. It's our own Kevlar. It's single stranded. It's not spun, and it just splits so easy. I find it fantastic. Fantastic thread, split really easy. It's great stuff. We have it up on the website there. It's our own Kevlar. What am I doing next? So now we're going to do a trimming. Anyone come up with what I missed? No rib on that one, Graham. Come on, lads. Dennis, Dave Toohey. Someone hit me with a mistake because there's definitely a mistake there. I forgot something. So I always start trimming the underbody first, and then I start working my way around. Not trimming right to the back just yet. I'll tidy that up afterwards. Once I'm happy enough and I get the body in the first half of the section. Not a tag, Dave. Floss strip for body? Nope. Underbody. Dave Tooley has it right. Underbody. Well done, Dave. Yeah, so basically when I tie in my thread, I should have left my tag end quite long, sticking out. And then when I've completed the process that I'm doing right now, I would have put a little pinch of dubbing on that. And what I would have done then is I would have pulled it underneath the deer hair. And I've done a little underbody, a very subtle underbody there, which the original apartment had seals for, but I would have used an olive. What I use is that olive. I'll get out a piece here now and show you. A little bit of olive hare's ear. That's what I would have used, and I would have given a little olive deer hair strip underbody. So, tungsten bead, Dave. No, not every fly is a tungsten bead, Dave. So that would have given me a little olive underbody, but you'll know that for future references that fly would have had an underbody. Well done, Dave Tui. So I'm trimming it down to the exact style. And you can see that deer hair is really well packed. You know, really well packed. There's no gaps in it there. It's a great way of putting in deer hair on a body for likes of that. And saves an awful lot of time. So we kind of leave a taper out on it. Leave those flares, that tail and flare on the good ard. This fly catches an awful lot of fish because of its silhouette. It floats like a cork, as you can obviously imagine. It's all deer hair. But it's the silhouette. So, you know, whatever length you want to achieve or radius on that body, well then by all means, the underbody needs to be a little bit more trimmed in actually in that. And the body needs to be kind of sitting up on the hook a little bit. If you can understand, you can. So you would trim that underbody quite flat up near the hook, and then you would pull back up your deer hair, or your little underbody, the one I missed. Okay, so once I'm fairly happy enough with that, one more little bit there, I can then move on. So I'm going to add in a pair of horns, which I'm going to use a few tips with, a few hackle tips. I normally have a bag of these downstairs or a little tub of these downstairs, hackle tips, and you'd pick out your 2 hackle tips. I couldn't find the right colour ones today, so I'm just going to use a couple of brown hackle tips, and I'm going to strip them back, put them into hackle pliers, and just strip back all them barbs. So next week, Saturday, is Rugby Day, Six Nations. Ireland are playing at 8 o'clock. So by the time that match is over, and I'm going to watch the match, sorry guys. By the time that match is over, it's probably going to be too late to do the flight then. So Friday night next week, we're going to go live, guys. Friday night coming. We'll be live at 8:30. We're going to do it. I'll put a post up on Facebook. Friday night, we're going to do a live show. And I've been asked an awful lot of questions about zonkers, snakes, flappers, all that kind of stuff over the last couple of weeks. A lot of guys, you know, have been getting ready for the banks and stuff like that. So I'm going to do a few stocky stuff next week, flappers and things like that, some snakes and stuff. And that will be the last show for this month. Going into November, what we're going to do is we're going to do a series of shows, and we're going to call them Nymphing November. So it's all going to be about nymphing. We're going to do some flies. We're going to talk tactics. We're going to do a show on leaders, setups, different stuff like that. Go through exactly what I use and things like that. So the horns can, Dennis, absolutely. The horns can spin in the cast. And tell you, if I was fishing this fly, if I was tying it for myself and fishing it, I don't put the horns on. I don't. You could Declan Noonan. Declan Noonan reckons I should give haircuts. I normally don't put the horns on, and if someone looks for the G&H edge off me, I'd ask them, say, do you want horns or not? Because they do tend to spin in the cast. You're dead right, and can be a right pain, furling leaders and stuff like that. But just for the process of this, I'm going to just. I had planned to tie it exactly like the original with the underbody and stuff, but that got by. That got by me. Got me two horns in there. You can trim them off a little bit later on the water tonight, guys. Now, so once we got our horns in, we're then going to add in our hackle. Okay, so we've got a saddle hackle here, nice brown, long saddle hackle. Going to choose my hackle. Some people use a gauge to choose a hackle line. I think at this stage I have a fair idea of what I want. If I'm not unsure, I offer it to the fly. If I think it's going to be okay, I'll select the hackle. I'll go with this one. The process of this fly was to demonstrate how to do the deer hair. So I hope you all got that, found that useful piece of information. Working with your deer hair strips is it just makes life so much easier. So I first came across it I heard it mentioned one or two times before. Didn't really see much. Yeah, pheasant tail, but the problem is they break. They break. That's what I find about if the horns are really essential to match the hatch. Well, they can be very brittle. Yeah, personally, I just tend to just do that to hackle and not have the horns. Tying your hackle back there, bring your thread up to the eye of the hook under the horns. It came out. That happens. Just go back. Bring your thread up now. Eye of the hook. Take your hackle. And in touch and turns. Wind up that last little piece. Working in a small tight little space there between the hackle and the horns and everything else. So just take your time. There's no great rush. If anything gets a little bit misplaced on you can always maneuver it back just before you finish the fly. Just going to reset that hook and device for a second just to make life a little bit easier for me. Just pack all that back there, make sure I'm happy with everything. Hold everything back for a second, get a turn or two up there at that eye, just so you can get that head in there. Couple of little fibres there, it is a tight space in there. And there you have it. G&H Sage, real good floater, real good dry fly, very good in the even times. You can trim those horns off then if you like, but Ryan Quinlan is looking forward to Nymph in November. Yeah, we're going to have a bit of fun. We're going to go through everything, every aspect in Nymph. Now it'll all be the way I do it, so I never pretend to be 100% correct. Everyone has their own style in Nymph, and most guys that know or have ever kind of came along for a coaching day or a masterclass with me, one of the first things I say to you is that this is just, it's just the way I do it, like as regards to nymphing. Not saying I'm right or wrong, but it's the style I use. So for Nymph in November, we'll try and cover as much as we can. Nymphs, tactics, rivercraft. We'll look at all the setups I use and things like that. That'll come along after next week. But for now, anyway, there's the G&H Sage. Purpose on that one, say showing you that one, not only because it's a cracking fly that should be used more often, but the deer hair process there just makes life very easy. And there you go, size 14. Goddard Sedge, that's on its way to Graham Lonigan. He'll have that Wednesday, he can inspect it. Really good fly. It's a great floater in the evening. Definitely the profile is a key there. Sometimes some people want the body a bit larger in radius, that bit of a tag end of the ear hair a bit longer out the back of the hook and stuff and a bit more tapered. But hi, Eugene Fagan's on there. Thanks very much. Really good fly. Large size is quite good for. I'm not going to read that out. Eugene, there was someone on actually last night. Some lady came on last night and left a comment, and she was saying something about, is this channel the 50 Shades of Grey of fly fishing? Do you know what it was? She mentioned you. She tagged you in it anyway, Eugene. So I want to know what you're up to. So anyway, there's that little Goodhart's caddis. Very good fly. Larger size, really good on lakes and stuff as well. But the process of doing the ear hair, guys, is the key there. Now, we're going to do one more. This is a dry fly, and I actually came up with last night when I was kind of furling. If you can remember when I was doing that little dry, I furled, well, it was actually a semi-furl. It wasn't even a full furl. It was a semi-furl hackle that went on it. And I remember in a merger, I had bought a book somewhere a few years ago. If anybody can remember, I can't even remember. No comment, Eugene. Come on, no, Eugene, you can't. You can ring me later on and tell me. But there was a book I had. It was a Norwegian fly tire, and it was all about furling hackles and doing dubbing brushes and different things like that. Real interesting book. I don't know where. I didn't pick it up in Ireland. It was somewhere abroad. I picked it up. He was a real unique kind of style tying to him. Someone got a lend of it a long time ago and obviously never got it back. But anyway, he done an awful lot of dries with furling and stuff like that. And this was an emerger that I used a long time ago for a number of seasons. And again, as I mentioned before, we have these great patterns, and then they might go through a bit of a dry spell, and we forget about them, we forget to tie them. And I was talking to someone today, and I started to think about this pattern again. And I said, God, we might do that one tomorrow night, actually, because it's relation to the one we did last night, and the one last night was, people found it quite interesting. So, it's a real good emerger pattern. March, April, May, Iron Blues coming out. That kind of time of the year. This is one that should have a little bit of tying in it, but we'll work our way through it. We've nowhere to go. So we got a 611 size 14 there. We'll tie it even down. I'm going to tie it on a little bit of a bigger size. 16s would probably be my preferred, but a little bit bigger just because we're on show here, and helps you guys see a little bit more. Okay, so merger pattern, Iron Blue emerger, blue done emerger, whatever you want. I'm going to put in a base of Kevlar, as always. And I'm going to put a tiny, tiny little speckle tail. So, we were talking about microglint last night for different things. Put a very tiny little tail on this one too. And this kind of represents a kind of in the emerger, an egg sacker. I like to trim it off afterwards. Now, if you're flying some grey heron, found a couple of feathers along over the years, I keep an eye out for them. This is one of the primary wing feathers. You can see I've used quite a bit of it up along there for the bodies, nymphs and stuff. And along here we have the biots, okay? Lovely, long, natural grey biots. Fantastic for doing dry flies for Iron Blues and nymphs for Iron Blues if you're doing a biot nymph. The longer ones up this end I use for an awful lot of nymphs as well, and dries. It can be a little bit stiff and coarse. Maybe some of the secondary feathers are a little bit softer for dries and stuff, but for nymphs it's pretty good. But this biot section here along the back is superb, lovely and long for doing bodies and stuff like that. So we're going to use one of these for the body here. Just selecting one, and we're tying in a biot. You tie it in underneath the hook. Wind up your thread up along. Leave a nice even body. I'm going to take a little bit of Sally Hansen then, and I'm going to put a little bit of Sally Hansen just on that underbody, just a little bit of adhesive there. Just, I'm not going to rib this. You can put some kind of a clear mono rib there or something like that to give it a bit of strength. It's not going to be the strongest of bodies. You'll still get quite a number of fish on it, but it's it's fragile enough material, especially when we're tying in a size 14. We've got quite a long body to go, so we're really tying into the very tip. So there's a good chance this could break once, if not twice, now my luck. Especially because it's 2020 and it's liable to happen, as we've seen last night with the internet. So just going to wind that around, get a star in it and start making my way up the body. We're basically just doing a nice biot. Body up that. It's a merger as well, so I don't want that body to be too bulky. I want it to be as slim as possible, so that will sit down nicely in the water. That's looking pretty good now. I'm quite happy with that. That biot, that grey heron biot, makes an absolute fantastic body, even on buzzers, stuff like that as well. If you do happen to come across a couple of feathers of it, get it and pick it up, and it's fantastic stuff. A little bit of glue underneath just helps keep it sealed. But you see, we got a lovely body there now on that particular fly. So if anybody ever has any questions written, by all means, don't be afraid to shoot them across. It's live. I'll try and answer them as often as I can. Also, if there's anything you want to see, even for next week or even during Nymph in November, by all means, shoot them across on Facebook, whatever. This voice here, Dennis, is the J voice. I'll just pull back the camera a bit and you can see it. It's the J voice. It's the royal blue kind of finish I got on it. Got it last year following the. I've always used the J voice, but got it last year following passing the APGAI exams. Decided to treat myself to a new voice. Probably the first new voice I ever bought myself, decent one anyway. And it's a lovely voice. I like it. Has this lovely swan, kind of gooseneck, swan neck down here where my big gloves get to fit in, so it suits me really well. And yeah, it's got a good hook hold. Not overly expensive, be quite surprised. But we're all custom made, all handmade in South Africa. Now we're going to move on to the last aspect of this fly, and this is a furling a hackle. Okay, so same process of what we started with yesterday. I'm taking a grizzle saddle and I'm straightening out the barbs. Straightening out, down along. It looks like so. Hold it back and tie it in up there. Back a bit from the eye. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a furl on that. Okay, so I'm going to spin it. Hackle pliers here. And I'm going to give that a spin. Yeah, Robbie, broadband's working, thanks be to God. Got an email off Imagine this morning, just saying that they apologised, as if they really give the damn, but they apologised to all their customers for the broadband going down last night. So you can see I'm spinning that, furling that hackle up there now. Those barbs are all starting to come through. Don't over furl. I said this is trial and error. Trial and error with this, that if you over furl it, it can snap right in there near the eye. Okay, so basically I'm just spinning it, and what I do then is I get my dubbing needle or some kind of a needle and catch it there in the middle, like so. Pull over the other side and allow it to furl up like so. Everyone see that? Hope you've all got that. And that'll stay there. You can let go of your hackle pliers now and you furl that hackle. Okay, take off that piece of waste that's sticking out the back end. Well, actually, no, I'm wrong. It's been a while since I tried this one. Trap in that first. And trap it back along there. And you got a nice furled hackle. Now, muskrat dubbing is a must. If you're trying iron blues, Nymphs or dries, natural muskrat is absolutely crucial. I think it's the only thing for iron blues or blue duns. Fantastic, lovely soft dubbing for dries and stuff, and they use an awful lot of nymphs as well. Go and take a little bit of natural muskrat. You'll find it on our website there as well. Most of the stuff that I'm using here, guys, is on the website. If you can't find it, by all means, give us a shout and I'll help you out or point you in the right direction of who does have it. So I'm going to put in a little bit of a natural muskrat up there at the head. And we take our furled hackle and we create a loop just over the top of the fly like so. Just sitting a little bit up off of that. Sit it a little bit up off of the dubbin. Take away your waist. We'll finish it. A little bit of, probably a little bit of black marker there just to colour in that thread. This is a fantastic emerging pattern. I can remember this fishing this. I think it was in Durrow. I was living in Wicklow time and I came down to Durrow. I was practice training with an Irish team, and we were practicing on the Nora, and this thing was just devastating during the day. There was iron blues coming off it, and they just couldn't get enough. It was ridiculous. Fantastic pattern. Sits well in the water. Sits right down in the water. That furled hackle sitting up there. You gink that up, and you'll be surprised it will float. But that thing is, Patrick Hardy would sit very low in the water, and that's what you want. That's what I'm saying. You know, it's very important with that body. You don't bulk it up too much. Sit very low down in the water. It can be very difficult to see, but as I always, when I'm making the cast forward, if anything moves within a foot radius of where I think the fly is, I hit it. Like sits really down low. A great emerger pattern. You can do it. This probably, that was the one. I think I did an olive one at one time as well and fished it for a while and it was good. Definitely one that after talking about furling last night and stuff, going to tie a blast in, getting back into my dry fly box. They're crackers, absolute cracking emerging patterns. Just furling that hackle and sitting up there, looks fantastic and floats. You'd be quite surprised. We'll hang in there. It'll hang right down in the surface film where the natural flies at its most vulnerability and where the fish just want it. Just the clinks and stuff don't really sit in that. I used to find that clinks and stuff didn't really sit exactly that low down in the water, but that will, and that's a real good pattern there for these guys. Definitely get it into the box for the coming season. Well, look, that's pretty much what I planned for tonight. Said I'll just do 3 more, cover what we missed out on last night. Was very frustrated, so I said I'll come back on tonight and just do another bit. Sure, it's bank holiday Sunday, so why not? Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you've really enjoyed the 2 shows. This will be up on YouTube tomorrow if anybody wants to go back and watch it, or come onto our Facebook page and watch it. If anybody's got any questions or queries, by all means give us a shout anytime. Always glad to have a chat to somebody about fishing. And if you need any stuff, guys, just log on to www.piscarifly.com and everything you need is there online. We'll deliver to your door next day. And if you've stuck for it and you're looking for something in particular, pick up the phone and ring me. My number's there, or give me a bell or give me a text on Facebook or WhatsApp or my phone number, and I'll certainly do my best to help you out. Thanks to everyone for the support. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your weekend, and see you all Friday night at 8:30. Put a post up there during the week. Don't forget, we got a competition coming on Tuesday, another giveaway. We're going to be doing our mystery box. Remember, we did a mystery box competition back in March in the first lockdown. We're going to do another mystery box on Tuesday. So I'm going to have a box full of goodies, and you've got to guess how much retail value is on that box, not knowing what's in it. The winner, whoever gets the correct amount, will win the contents of the box. So watch out for that one Tuesday morning. That's coming Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it will run till it's won. Okay? If it goes a bit longer than planned, well, then I will give a clue most days. Paddy Mac, do I always wait the buzzers? depends. An awful lot of time I will put a little bit of lead up there in the top of the hook. Not always, but an awful lot of time I will. Just to get them down. It depends on how fast I want them to go through the layers. Sometimes I find buzzers that unweighted means they'll go down through the layers a little bit slower, and maybe that's the way the fish want them. Depends on whereabouts on the cast. If it's a point buzzer, I'm absolutely going to weight it because it get down to where I want it to be a lot quicker. But not always, but sometimes. It depends on the pattern. Depends on where I'm fishing. So it's depending on how So sometimes. But thanks for the question. Okay, guys and girls. Hope you enjoyed it, and good night to everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you all Friday night. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Take care.